Hello and welcome to Thursday's programme. I'm John T. Messer.
And I'm Ellie Louise Ringe. Coming up tonight between now and 6:30. Good evening. There are questions tonight about the future role of Plymouth's historic dockyard after it was announced hundreds of workers are to lose their jobs.
The news came from the engineering firm Babcock, which services Royal Navy warships and submarines. It's understood the cuts will be mostly in management and technical roles, but there are fears the port could become victim to a wider defence shake-up.
Well, our reporter Grace Pascoe is at Devonport for us now. And Grace, a huge blow for workers and their families. Well, our political correspondent David Wood joins us from Westminster now. David, what have the city's MPs been saying?
They are very concerned and
And David, this is very worrying for families and workers at the dockyard because it's not the only uncertainty at Devonport at the moment.
That's right, John T.
To other news now, and senior doctors at Cornwall's largest hospital have set up a dedicated command centre to cope with the influx of patients caused by the winter beds crisis and last week's bad weather.
Next on the programme, a nurse from Plymouth has spoken of her shock after she was forced to leave her car during last week's unprecedented snowfall, only to return to find it had been vandalised.
Senior police officers in Exeter say there is still work to do to get more women into leadership roles in the Devon and Cornwall force.
The comments come as a social media campaign is launched right across the region to celebrate women in the emergency services, aiming to promote strong role models, challenge stereotypes and encourage more young women to think about choosing it as a career.
Yes, and today is also International Women's Day. And while some police officers in Exeter say many of the barriers of the past have been broken down, there is still more to do, as Bob Cruz reports.
And we will have plenty more on International Women's Day later in the programme. We'll be hearing from...
And the ITV News continues with the national and international stories at 6:30. Here's Mary Nightingale with the details.
But next on our programme, we could all do a little bit more to help the environment, but how willing would you be to give up some of your home comforts in an effort to live more sustainably?
It can seem like a job in itself, but we've caught up with one family from Plymouth who say reducing their carbon footprint over the last year has actually saved them money. Well, our reporter Claire Manning went to meet them. Some great ideas there. Now, there are a number of growing weekend retreats popping up across the region, offering everything from yoga to surfing. But for those who want to leave the modern world behind, there is a new craze.
Yes, they are known as reading weekends. You can guess what happens on them. You can go and read a book and you can enjoy a few days of peace and quiet. They are already up and running in Taunton, and our reporter Kevin Ashford has been along to find out how they work.
Well, back to International Women's Day now. And what does the future look like for the next generation of young women?
We've been speaking to a group of 16-year-olds at St Peter's School in Exeter about their hopes and aspirations and whether they think there are still barriers to women achieving their ambitions. From that group of teenagers at St Peter's School in Exeter. Let's stay in Exeter, go to the Met Office now, where we find Kate this evening. Kate, lovely sunshine there at the moment, and you're with a special guest as well this evening.
I am indeed, because as you just...
Kate, you passed with flying colours. Many thanks indeed. Before we go, let's give you a reminder of the main headlines here in the West Country this evening. And the Plymouth Moor MP...
Well, it's goodbye from us. I'll have the late news for you at 10:30.
Now it's time to hand you to Mary Nightingale as the ITV News continues.